Okay, welcome back for another segment of AM Rockland, sponsored by Rockland News and a multitude of sponsors. And we have our co-host here, Mike Luger.
How you doing, Tom? I know the show a bunch of years. I know you have a lot of but I don't know. So
Yeah.
I would like to ask you about all of
Good.
And outro. Out.
Thank you. Bam.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Yes.
We have a long list of sponsors.
We do have a
and
long
I
list of sponsors.
don't know most of them. Some of them are because they're brand new, like the one on the top of the list. 202 Cannabis. They are brand new in Garnaville. Tell me everything you know about 202 Cannabis.
Well, I know them. And I want to say that I have not only been there, I have not only been in the facility. I haven't gone through the drive-through, but I was definitely there at the ribbon cutting.
Drive-through?
There's a drive-through.
What world are we living in?
I know. Aldous Huxley, man. Brave New World. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. They are one of our sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. So we did have the ribbon cutting for them. 202 Cannabis is located in Garnerville, New York, in the old TD Bank building. Thank you.
And they have a drive-through.
And they have a drive-through, which is actually astounding. And I want to note this. And to the owners, Gregory and Milka Pereira, they're really looking to give back. They're looking to give back to the community and also help. For instance, they want to, and I think they already have these counseling sessions with people that suffer from PTSD. Aside from 202 Cannabis, they're doing this counseling.
So there's a little bit of a herbal medicine,
something like that.
On. So like you can sign up for a session. How does that work? Do you sign up for a session?
Well, that I don't. I think it's more just like that they're doing that on away from the actual facility as a community service. As far as the facility itself, they offer recreational and safe cannabis solutions. They are not a medical facility. This is recreational only.
Excellent. Good clarification.
Yes, sir. And they also advise that if you're going to be using the drive-through, here's the Captain Obvious thing we know: don't drive under the influence. So you pick up your stuff, you keep it in the bag, you keep it in the bag up until you get back to your house or a safe location where you can consume safely.
Keep it at home, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if the police departments would advocate that as well, but I think that they would. It is best sit in your own couch, get in your comfy chair, and do what you got to do for yourself.
Now,
I have been to dispensaries on the West Coast, and you had to provide a bunch of paperwork, ID. This. Do you need to bring your IDs or any other kind of paperwork to get into purchase?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
What do you need to bring?
Again, just to observe, I bring my driver's license. If I got to, I bring my passport. I'm staying in the United States. But
some of this stuff might take you to another universe.
Right? I don't know anything about that. I cannot confirm nor deny, but what I can confirm is that we want to thank 202 Cannabis for being a sponsor of Rockland's News. And for those of you that may be naysayers of the existence of cannabis, I have one word for you guys. Come on. Come on.
That was one word twice.
Well, I was repeating myself.
Yeah.
I was just saying. Okay, so that is one of our sponsors.
You are very excited about these 202 Cannabis folks.
Can you tell by like my clapping?
Yes, I can tell. I want to know
Sometimes
if you are
excited.
as excited with Suzanne Bova of Coldwell Banker Realty, and what is, other than being a realtor, does she specialize in anything in particular, or where is she located?
Well,
tell me about Susan.
I can tell you a personal story, actually. I know Susan.
Are you going to embarrass her online?
No. I'm just saying, like, I know her for several years. My mom recently moved up to Highland Falls, and it was a stressful process. I want to say that because my mom had lived in a specific home in Stony Point for over 30 years. I was there obviously for many years as well, and Susan was really helpful in I would say easing the waters that occurred during a very stressful time transitioning my mother to Highland Falls. And I'm really happy that Susan was involved in the process, and she's with Coldwell Banker Realty. She's been a realtor for, if I'm not mistaken, about 25 years. I can tell you her website is susanbovarealtor.com. just type that in just to make sure I got that right. Susan Bova, Bova, Realtor.com. That's located at 50 South Liberty Drive and Route 9W, and it is also there's you could go directly to susanbova.randrealty.com, but there's also Susan Bova Realtor, but that's Coldwell Banker, and that is her current brokerage firm, Susan Bova from Coldwell Banker, and we really appreciate her as a sponsor on Rockland's News. Next up.
All right, so Regents Review. Now, my kids are young, but also of school age, and they might actually need some of this information. Tell me about Regents Review. I only know about the Regents I took many decades ago. Decades now. So tell us about Regents Review now. Does it do something different? What is it that the parents and kids of the age of taking Regents need to know?
Well, they are celebrating 20 years of doing their SAT and ACT test preps for students. And this is the perfect time of the year, really, just to get a one-day refresher course. You know, if you think about it, the things that we learn over the course of the year, many years, decades, sometimes they just get filed away and stored in a little box in our brain, just like, oh, it's compartment X1B, right? But the Regents Review Company, through their one-day reviews and also comprehensive, if you choose to take those courses, they're able to help students recall that information right around the time when they absolutely need it, is for these SATs and ACTs. And I have to tell you, I mean, it's definitely a leg up in terms of career movement and personal development when you ace these tests, you know?
Excellent.
Yeah, so you can check them out at the website is pasttheregents.com.
Now, with each of these, there will be links to our site. What's our site, Tommy?
Yeah, so you go to rocklandnews.com, and we have our brand new Today section, which includes this podcast that you're listening to after everything is like nice and cleanly formatted and brought together, as well as in text format, Mike, a list of all the community news and all the things that are happening around Rockland County today.
So this is for our Rockland News. Moving on to our sponsors, my favorite one to say, Yabu Fence. Now, Yabu Fence has been here for a long time, right?
Since 1965 they started.
Rockland County-based business, family business.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Well, they're in West Nyack. We know them for many years through our web development work, because our first company is web design. So we built them a beautiful website, I think. I think they're happy with it as well. And we also do their social media marketing as well as their paid Google advertisements. I'll just say that. And last year we were able to actually take a budget that they had with another company, and we were able to say, no, you don't. Let me give you an example. All right, I'm just going to say this. And this is for the former company that did this. If this is unprofessional, whatever, I'm not naming names. But these guys, the previous company, they were charging them thousands. I'm talking about thousands of dollars, okay? Right. And half of the advertisements were not showing.
That sounds kind of predatory.
A little bit, yeah. So we did a deep dive into the advertising budget and everything. Thank you, Joel, by the way, who was the one that came up with this. He figured out exactly where the targeted keywords were that Yabu Fence would be able to actually bid on and ultimately gain, first, second, third place in the search engine results. And we cut that budget. We trimmed it by half. 50% we took off. And now we're slowly but surely adding back in with all the things that actually work in this year 2025. But that previous advertising firm, that was for 10 years, Mike. It was for 10 years.
Now that you're bringing this up, we're going to take a break from our sponsor list here for a moment.
Yeah, and we're going to come back
and talk about how does one protect themselves.
Yeah, and we're going to put a footnote on this as far as like our sponsors, because we really have a lot of sponsors.
And thank you, Yabu Fence, for for encouraging a conversation that might help fellow citizens.
Absolutely, yeah. And in all seriousness, just so you guys get some context to this show, what you're listening to right now. But Mike and I have known each other as friends for like 6, 7, 8 years.
I think it's longer than
yeah,
that
it's
now, but
awesome, man.
yep.
So we just vibe, and this is actually gonna. Whenever Mike is on the show, it's going to. I don't want to say delve into or degenerate into. It's actually regenerate into.
We explore.
Yes.
We are exploring many concepts and many thoughts.
We're exploring the space, basically. So we're
and
gonna
not after we've gone to 202 campus.
yeah, exactly. We're right here, and we're with you, studio audience. But we will come back to the sponsor list. But your question was, how can companies protect themselves from
and individuals?
Yeah. So there's budgets that these big advertising agencies set every year. And we know this because we've been doing this for 18 years in my first company, Rockland Web Design. This is before Rockland News. We picked that up in 2020. Okay. So here's how it goes. The big ad agency comes in with the slick looking, suit and tie person. And I sat in the room with these idiots. I have. They sit down and like, oh yeah, we could do this and that, blah, 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 blah. We're going to set up an ad budget for you. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong. It may be absolutely relevant to the time and place. The late Gary Lipton, lawyer over in Spring Valley. Okay, I sat in a room with these same advertising folks, and again, the suit and tie and everything like that. And I pulled my client aside back then. I was like, dude, they don't know what they're talking about. So he's like, all right, we'll look into it. He stayed with them. Okay. But with Yahoo, like we looked at the reports afterwards, and the amount of money that was being spent was, I mean, it wasn't like a huge or a small budget. It was a budget. But at the same time, when we looked deeper into the reporting, that money was being thrown out the window, at least half of it. So, like, let me give you an example, Mike. All right. Let's say you're looking for a fence. Okay.
And I would go to Yahoo Fence.
Well, let's say you don't know about Yahoo Fence.
Okay.
All right. And you're just looking to have a fence in your backyard.
My
right?
fence is blowing down, a storm came through, a tree came. What am I to do?
Yeah, and you do gardening, right?
And I'm like, I type in fence in the Google.
Yeah. Deer fencing is an example to protect the vegetables from being eaten by the deer, which is no easy endeavor. I understand.
That is correct.
All right. So you're looking for fencing. You type in fence company in where?
Rockland County, because that's where we are.
Exactly. Okay. So that's Captain Obvious. And that was on the list. That was what the advertising company, you can bid on these keywords.
How do you get a company like Yahoo to the top of that search engine?
Well, it's several things.
Let's say there's 17 fence companies and Yahoo's just one of them. How do we get Yahoo to stand up above the rest of them?
Yeah. We call it in the industry the trifecta.
The trifecta, okay.
The trifecta is a combination of a good quality website with really good quality content on it, explaining exactly what the company, be it a company or an organization or a cause, retailer,
so
restaurant. Number one is content on the website. Very well structured.
What's number two?
Number two is a good quality Google Map presence.
How do you do that?
You sign up for a Google business profile. It's free. And then you cross-link all the content from the website onto the Google business profile. And then on top of it, every time that you get a new customer, you make sure that you ask that customer for an honest review of that company.
Okay. And what's number three?
Number three is advertising. And quite frankly, it's pay to play.
So the more you pay, the better play you get.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you've heard it. The trifecta. Is there anything else we should discuss? Or
no. You don't even need to put training wheels on this. I am disgusted by and also must advise on the industry in an authentic way. So ask me any questions you want at this point, because we've done this for 18 years and we had to mature as well. Okay. So, Mike Lyden from the Stony Point Seals, he was on before. He says our organization has really matured. They just finished their second annual golf outing.
Well, and to say they've matured, they started off with, if you're going to do something stupid, you might as well do it for charity.
Might as well do it for charity, right?
Right.
Which is a great motto, by the way.
It is. Yes.
So, I really want to, explain to companies, and, people don't often ask me this. So it's a lot of pent up, like I know the information, but blah, blah, I got to get it out. So, all right, I said, and this is what stopped us all dead in our tracks, it's pay to play. Okay. That's the advertising industry. Now, I didn't make the rules. All right. All I know
Don't
is
hate the player, hate the game.
yeah, and this is all everything that I'm talking about is considered quote unquote white hat search engine optimization and white hat search engine advertising.
What does white hat mean?
White hat versus black hat is basically when you do good or not so good things in order to gain in search engine rankings. I'll give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you have a garden, right?
As I do.
Okay. And you want to make sure that everybody knows about your garden. So you create a website, right?
Okay.
And then you take the same content and you put it on over and over and over again times 1,000,000.
Okay.
All right. That's not good quality content. You're just regurgitating the same thing over and over.
I see.
All right.
I see.
And Google frowns upon that. They frowned upon it from the very beginning.
Okay.
Makes logical sense, but that would be an example of something kind of like nefarious. But what is considered white hat, and this is the oddity of it all, is the more money that you pay, the better ranking you get.
Shouldn't that be green hat? Just say it.
All right, green hat, green thumb, right?
Well, I was thinking money, but
sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's money.
All right. Money. Should we get back to our sponsor list?
Yeah, and I just want to close this out just by saying, and Yahoo, and they're like the crux of this. How do you prevent from getting taken advantage of from these advertising firms? I'm just going to go back into the room, with that advertising company. They may not necessarily do this on purpose. It could just be organizational changes, but they definitely dropped the ball with several of our clients. And I'm not naming names, but they dropped the ball on several of our clients where we went in and we found out that the budget that they were employing was not being put in the right places. Okay. And our company went in, Rockland Web Design, and we trimmed down the budget from the stuff that they couldn't put together. And then we established a baseline and then built from there. But the most important thing for you don't have to hire us. You don't even have to hire anybody, but make sure that you check your reports. Check your Google Analytics. Check your Google business reports. Check your Facebook reports. Check your reports to find out
that's a lot of checks.
They're graphics. They're literally graphics.
So this is what I would say in response to what you're saying. I tend to be a little Luddite when it comes to things about the internet. So what I would suggest is when you go and have a conversation, whether you're a company or a person, and you're having to deal with advertising, that you have more of a human experience. Don't do things. All of this is going to be digital, but there's no reason why you can't sit across a table literally and talk to a person with a human and a face.
That's true. Yeah.
To do that, you need to go local. And I always stress, buy local, community service, be part of your community, because the more we get together as people, the less the big scary world can affect us.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah, and that's why I'm not knocking, like, for instance, the advertising guy in that room at Gary Lipton's many years ago, and he was dressed to the nines, sharp dressed man, right?
Just
like us.
Just like ZZ Top talks about.
Yeah. So, I'm not knocking him. I mean, he's working for the company and everything. But that's, the problem really there was the structure of the company where they didn't follow up with their reporting and stuff like that. They should have been there, like us, to be there at Yahoo Fence talking with them.
So you get someone who can be personable and give you the reports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Don't just count on your digital reporting. You need a face to explain this stuff to you.
And knowledgeable. Yeah.
Knowledgeable. All right. Yeah. So let's move on.
All right.
Speaking of knowledgeable people.
Yes. So
Dana Pest Control.
Yes. Dana Pest Control, and I'm just going to go back one more thing. Just whatever you do with your advertising budget, make sure you get a report. If there's any closeout to that, make sure you get your reports and you read them. Okay. And again, thank you, Yabu Fence, for sponsoring the AM Rockland show. You know we're in it to win it with you guys. Another company that we're in it to win it with is Dana Pest Control. They're a third generation, family owned. They're an amazing company. I know Rick and Anthony and Sonia for many years. They're located up in Tompkins Cove, and they provide pest management services for a variety of companies, both retail and also residential. Of course, clean manufacturing, restaurants. I mean, you name it, they're able to handle pretty much the entirety of the Hudson Valley with their team over at danapestcontrol.com. Lauren Molino Muller from Howard Hanna Rand Realty. And Lauren has a free guide for getting your home ready to sell. And you can check that out over at rocklandnews.com. She is in the Stony Point area of the news. You click on the link and it'll come right over to Howard Hanna Rand Realty. And there's a full comprehensive PDF report on how to sign up with her, but also how to, on your own, get your home ready for sale. Lauren Molino Muller from Howard Hanna Rand Realty. Kobe Sushi, located in New City, New York. Mike, they have a new jazz lounge that they just opened up.
So I've noticed a lot of these names we had when we were doing Stony Music Fest. So these companies really love local music. Is that correct?
Yeah, these are supporters of the local music scene, definitely.
So Kobe Sushi is over in New City, obviously sushi.
Mm-hmm.
And so what kind of music are they going to start putting in there?
Yeah, so we were at the grand opening 2 weeks ago. Supervisor George Holman was there, and we really had an amazing time. It was so they put out a sushi buffet. It was for the.
What's your favorite kind of sushi?
The one that's in my mouth.
Good answer.
It's really good. It's really like they got amazing food over there. And Joyce is just one of the sweetest business owners that I've ever met. And it's in business, it's tough to stay like a nice person that really is that. She's one of the people that really, and she and her husband just run the place. It's amazing. And they have a jazz area too.
Okay.
So they have a stage, right?
Okay.
And there's a piano that's there, and there's enough room for like a trio. They had a trio there that was playing.
Are they booking these jazz folks directly? If you were a musician and you wanted to play the Kobe Sushi Jazz Lounge, how do you do that?
Yeah, you contact Kobe Sushi. You can go to KobeNewCity.com, and let me just bring up the website on the screen. One moment, please. KOBE. There it is, KobeNewCity.com.
Oh, they have a very nice website.
Yeah, there is like online ordering, and you can download the app. You can actually become a platinum member, and just in case they do another ribbon cutting, you could be at that as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, just amazing. Now, actually, on the downside, right next to it, the place. This is off of the sponsorship list, but the place in New City is shutting down. Yeah, so
unfortunately.
So maybe Joyce can take over that spot too. You never know. I mean, the way that she put this restaurant, Mike, I'm telling you, 80-person, like a restaurant venue, music, jazz, 2 bars, okay. One in the front, one in the back. It's amazing. And a sushi bar.
Waiting for your drinks.
And a sushi bar too, buffet. So we got to go.
All right.
You and me, we'll take the ladies and the gentlemen, and we'll bring them all there.
Listen to some jazz. I love some jazz.
Hibachi guy there's no hibachi there, but I just have this resounding thing of like, you give me power. I forget what movie that was from, but it was epic. Okay, and then we have Sparkling Clean Homes located in Highland Falls.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're a really cool company. They do something very unique, and we always look for cutting edge companies to see if they're interested in sponsoring. So, very nice woman that runs it. She's been doing this for many years, and she has a staff for this too. But check this out. So, normal, maid, butler, cleaning service. They come in, they clean the house. Great. All right. So you vacuum, you sweep, you mop, you do the dishes, you make the bed, laundry, all that stuff. All right. They scan stuff. Like they'll scan papers in the house to reduce the amount of paper clutter. And then they scan it into this app where they have like the person has digital downloads that go right to their email.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
a way to organize.
yeah,
So it's
seriously.
not just cleaning; it's an organizational company.
The company is so busy they actually took their website offline. It's only by phone appointment only now. I'm
Wow,
not kidding.
that's some
Yeah,
powerful business.
because she has at this point in her life, she said she's got enough business, and if there's more business, they could call her and she'll decide. So you can call 845-641-3223. She's really sweet. Her name is Alice, and she's got a really good company, Sparkling Clean Homes.
All right. Next, near and dear, um, Stony Music Fest had its after party here.
You know this place very well, Mike.
Patriot Lounge.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about Patriot Lounge. Tell all the citizens about Patriot Lounge.
All citizens, everybody that's listening to this, we could be in Guam right now. Patriot Lounge, located in Stony Point, New York. They do music every single weekend. As a matter of fact, we just had Michael Leiden on the show, and he basically was like, they did the second annual Stony Point Seals golf outing at Patriot Hills Golf Course, and afterwards they headed right on over to the Patriot Lounge. Rob McFadden, he does a great job over there. They got great food. They got axe throwing, and they have music every single weekend. They do virtual golf.
There's weddings there too, right?
There's weddings there too.
They hold big parties.
Elegant, and it's a really just a fun venue. I played there a few times, music wise. Our colleague, which we know, AK-40 Devin.
Oh yes.
Family friendly hip hop. He actually brought an entourage of like about 150, 200 people.
And my dear friend Tito used to play there as well.
Tito is amazing.
Again, our sponsors, they are music lovers.
Yeah, that's there's something about Rockland.
Because we like to put the rock in Rockland.
That's right. Yeah. And then on the flip, we got St. Thomas Aquinas College as a sponsor of the AM Rockland show.
Some education. Okay.
Yeah, so they just finished their recent commencement where 375 graduates, I believe over at Clover Stadium.
Okay.
They were able to take their tassel
and move it to the other side.
Flip it over to the other side.
St. Thomas is a 4-year college.
Yeah,
is that correct?
It's located in Sparkill, New York. You can visit them on the web at stack.edu. And notably, they also are a sponsor of Rockland Music Fest.
Because, well, our sponsors love music.
And we have an announcement to make. I'm actually going to confirm this momentarily once we hop off the air. But St. Thomas Aquinas College has an offer, a free offer for every single graduate of St. Thomas Aquinas College this year. A free ticket to Rockland Music Fest.
Oh, that's kind of cool, man.
375 tickets, one to each and every graduate of Rockland Music Fest.
What a great gift.
A graduate of Rockland Music Fest. Graduate of St. Thomas Aquinas College that can be at Rockland Music Fest on September 27th, brother.
Which kind of brings me back to like there's a lot of the school districts that have decent music programs, and it's never too late to pick up an instrument and learn how to play.
It's true.
My former in-laws started playing when they were in their 70s.
Really?
Yeah, saxophone and clarinet, and they joined an elderly marching band, and they would play at parades upstate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I encourage all of you to pick up a guitar, a flute, a clarinet, play some drums. Doesn't matter how old you are. Start playing music.
Yeah, and I think we talk about this a lot about finding our purpose, finding like our chi in life, whatever we want to call it. I gotta tell you, my life changed when I went on my first drum set.
And how old were you?
I'm a late bloomer, man. 24 years old.
Late bloomer.
Yeah.
Again, my former in-laws, they were in their 70s.
Right.
They picked up woodwind instruments.
Woodwind?
Yeah, clarinet and saxophone.
And did they play together?
They would practice together, and they would go to this organization that was upstate in Potsdam, where a bunch of elderly folk who were former music teachers, former musicians, and brand new musicians that were older would get together, and they would perform concerts and community concerts and marching parades and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we could find it, obviously they found this later on in life. I am lucky. I really am lucky. I want to say that I found it because I don't want to say I was in a dark place. I think I was in the typical place that like your post adolescent human being is at least once in their lives. But I was not. I wasn't feeling my existence mattered at all.
Well, and joining those organizations and bands and all that. So if you were a not a rock and roll musician
Right.
and you wanted to get into fiddling around or playing a violin, as the classical folk say it,
Diddling
there's
and fiddling.
there's the Rockland Symphony, there's the Rockland County Concert Band, and
Yeah.
those are all community organizations that take all types of musicians. So again, it's going back to finding the local community and trying to reach in and find your neighbors, find your
Yeah.
neighbors who play,
Find your people,
find your people.
as you always say.
Yep.
You always tell me.
Yep.
And you've been. I mean, from my perspective, you've been one of those. I want to say anchors to what I'm trying to do. And once I found uh, that purpose that I think we're aligned with the music, something just kind of clicked, and it's just like when we get together, it's just like there's an energy that like makes things happen. And like you said before, it's like sometimes I'm around to be the calm in the storm if like an emergency happens or something.
True.
Which was great at the last one because like every time I just went back to it,
we had a
like
storm.
Mike,
It was
Mike.
And it wasn't. The music is how our community aspect manifests for the two of us.
Yeah.
So, but you could be a community member by joining the SEALs, by
Yeah.
joining the fire department, by joining. We mentioned the volunteer ambulance corps,
Right.
and how important that is. However, you want to join your community and find your little aspect within it, that's what you should be doing.
Yep.
For us, it just happens to be music.
And tying it into St. Thomas Aquinas College, who is a sponsor not just of AM Rockland and Rockland News, but also Rockland Music Fest, again on September 27th. It's, the music is, in this case, a reward for having graduated and done a good job at it. But their courses and you can go over to stack.edu to learn more. The course curriculum over there is not just robust. Excuse me, I have to hiccup. But the course curriculum is not just robust, but it's also very forward thinking. And this is the part that I'm amazed by. They have a technology division that's studying AI.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you and I were in the educational space from time to time, and it seems like the colleges and the universities that are focusing on this, they are indeed preparing their students for the future. Hopefully utopian, maybe dystopian, probably a mix of both.
Well, we have to get our youth to see the utopian side and want to keep going towards that.
Yeah.
We only have so much time on this earth, so you got to do the best what you can for everybody and your neighbors.
Amen. Amen. Absolutely. So check them out at stack.edu. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No. Stack.edu. If you are looking to advance your education, that's a place to go in Rockland County. And you can be local, find some of your community members, and maybe start a band.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And that's the other thing. And when you were you on campus during your time? Like, did you get to hang out like dorms and stuff? I never did the dorm thing.
So I spent my college
visited
years,
the dorms.
my college years were the 90s, all of them.
Right.
I did, and to add to that, I only got a bachelor's in that 10 years.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I went to 4 different colleges, so I did have the dorm life. I had the RCC experience where I was living at home with my parents.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I had the dorm life at both SUNY Purchase and SUNY Potsdam. And then I finished it down south at a different school, but I was living in an apartment by that time.
That's cool.
So the dorm life, it is an interesting time, and I am part of an organization from that might have in Potsdam that spans about 55 years. And to listen to the generations, it's an interesting view on how each of them sees that feel of life, how what you should be doing in that 17 to 22, 23-year old life. And I think the best advice that I could give kids that are going into that is be your most authentic self and find your people, and don't listen to the older crowd telling you what you have to do if it doesn't vibe with who you are.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'll give you an example, and these days I'm a little bit more subdued about my faith and my religion, and I'm happy with that. Um, you know, in my early years, obviously I got a pretty robust religious education. I guess I'll characterize it that way. It's all good. But I go to RCC, right? And I had a professor for history. And by the way, my bachelor's, that was my degree, is like I graduated with a history degree, which, as we all know, stands for, hi, would you like some coffee with that?
I've never heard that, but I love it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So, professor, and I remember his name, and I think it's okay to say his name on the air. He's a fantastic professor, Professor Colin Falls, and he taught ancient Roman history.
Okay.
All right. But he also, I obviously had his belief system as well, and we respect that, of course. And he was an atheist, right? So, you figure statistically, just from statistics alone, you figure the mix is like, you could probably have a few kids in the room that came from a religious background in some way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
But he was pretty hardcore on us. Like, it was basically like if we said, like, God bless you, he was just like, don't say, and if we said bless you twice, he was like, no, it's only appropriate to say it once, and then afterwards it's just.
Well,
so I'm just like, wait a minute.
I make a joke for the neat D&D nerds.
Yeah.
Bless doesn't stack.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So you only get the bonus once. You cannot double bonus on your bless.
How do you know it's not stackable?
Because it's in the rules. I have the book.
Well, in the book, in the game there.
Yeah,
in that game. Yeah. So, and I actually, after class, like, every time, and it wasn't just that, like, we were in the middle of like talking about specific things, and he would head on be like, really, why do you think that? And that's acceptable, right? But like, he was starting to like wear us all down a little bit, and I went up to him afterwards in where the area is between building, I think, 1 and the place where the newspaper center was. It's right across from the AV studio.
So how many decades are you going back?
I'm going back 3 decades.
So there are buildings on that campus that don't exist anymore.
This one does. It's in the same building where we did the workforce development board meeting.
That is the student union.
Student union building. Okay. So I met him between the student union and the library.
Okay.
All right. And I says, Professor, I just wanted to thank you. I think you're an amazing professor. And I really meant that. And I said, could you do me a favor? Hopefully you'll hear me out. A lot of the students, including myself, feel a little bit uncomfortable with how our religious belief systems are being challenged, and we respect your beliefs, and I'm sure you respect ours. We were wondering if you could perhaps just dial it back just a little bit, just for the sake of, we want to zone in on the historical lessons, ancient Roman history and stuff like that. What do you think? And I was very, very nice about it. And he agreed, and he says, yeah, okay, no problem. But I will leave you with this. And I says, absolutely. I want to receive what you have to say. And he said something that freaking blew my mind, man.
What did he say?
He says, in America, if somebody asks you, do you believe in God? You'll say either yes or no. In Europe, if you say, do you believe in God? Usually you'll get the answer, what do you mean by God? So while my jaw was dropped, he nodded and turned and walked away. And I was just like, whoa, mind blowing, man.
So, as a segue,
yeah,
it left you in this perfect moment.
Yes.
So the next name on our list is FZ Perfection, and I have no idea anything about them.
Right.
So tell me about FZ Perfection.
So again, just in terms of education and all that good stuff, St. Thomas Aquinas College,
Oh.
375 tickets to the graduates this year for Rockland Music Fest. And also they're doing something for North Rockland, but we're going to announce that tomorrow.
All right. FC Perfection. Tell me
Okay,
what they are
FZ
and what they do. because I
Perfection
have
is
no idea.
located in Congers, New York. That's my friend Frank over there, and he's a sponsor of Rockland's News for many years, as well as now the AM Rockland Show. You can hear his advertisements done by the lovely Alana, who always does the advertisements for all of our sponsors here. So fzperfection.com.
What do they do?
I'm getting to that.
I'm so curious. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Auto body.
You just made it so sexy.
Auto body repair. All right. So, like, for instance, and that's actually what I need is like auto body repair, like personal body repair at this time. I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning these days, brother. It's wild.
Nanites. We need nanites.
We do need nanites. So, FZ Perfection, and that's Frank Zaccaro, the FZ, and he's got a great team over there. And if you have even a ding on your Dodge Neon from back in the day, or your Tesla is a little bit banged up from an accident, or if your high speed, high performance McLaren needs repair, the team over at FZ Perfection can handle it all. And they also work with most insurance companies. They work for you, not the insurance company, to make sure that you get the best possible deal out of any unfortunate thing that could happen, right? And fzperfection.com, you can learn more about them. And also, there from time to time, Frank puts out discounts on various repairs. You can get an estimate, an assessment first, get an idea of what's going on first, and then then the budget comes into play. But he can do nice discounts on that. You can check them out at fzperfection.com.
All right, now I know what they do.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I do not need their services. But again,
fortunately, accidents happen. Yeah.
So, what's not an accident is going to a restaurant. So
yes.
Tell us about Banchetto and what kind of food they have and where they're at.
Well, that's Eddie over at Banchetto Restaurant. And Banchetto Restaurant has been together, I want to say like about 20 years. Yeah, they're celebrating their 20-year anniversary this year. But that story goes way back in time. And I've spoken with Eddie several times. And I'm just going to blurb it out like some really good kudos. So first of all, WRCR radio used to be in the Nanuet Mall.
Okay.
All right, and I'm talking about the old Nanuet Mall before what used to
Tom is so old.
Yeah, it's starting to get there, man.
I see him getting grazed as we speak.
I have a broom in the corner there for me to be swept out when the time comes. So so
you're not writing it out for sunset.
All right, so Eddie, and WRCR radio was in the old Nanuet Mall. Now this is before what's now called the Nanuet Town Center, formerly known as the Shops at Nanuet. We're going way back to honestly, not the 90s, but like the late 2000s, like 2008, 2009. I used to have be a co-host. So where you're sitting now, Mike, is where I was with Irene Gutman on her show, The Coaching Corner.
Okay.
Fantastic person. We still keep in touch. Really sweet person. Right across the way from WRCR Radio was Banchetto Restaurant.
Oh, all right. And what tasty things did you have there?
I'd have business meetings there.
Tasty.
Back in the day, I had some lovely dates there.
Lunch. To eat or to meet?
Lunch, not dinner. Just to meet.
Oh.
Just to meet and then eat. So it was really fun. And I had a great time over there. Great Italian food. And now let's fast forward. So obviously over the years, I got to know Eddie. And Eddie told me the story of how Banchetto really had to hunker down after their 5-year mark. So the mall, if you recall, it was demolished in favor of the Shops at Nanuet. And Eddie told me he tried to get pushed out of there. And he's like, no, we have a lease. We have a 99-year lease, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Really serious thing. Now, look, legal, a lot of it is about leverage. How much, we have over the other person.
Right.
And it's what it is. Okay. Eddie didn't have a complete set of cards for leverage, but he held fast to that document. And he says, nope, we're not moving. We're not moving. Well, they finally settled, and they settled for a very, very, very nice piece of investment, which allowed them to build the new restaurant.
Which is where?
It's right next door to the town center, the Nanuet Town Center, and it's beautiful, man. They've been there for, I guess, like about 16 or 17 years
Okay,
there.
okay.
Maybe 15. I don't know.
And what's your favorite thing to eat there?
Oh, absolutely the eggplant parm.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
Okay.
only a few places that can really do eggplant
That's
parm.
why I'm surprised. All right, you heard it here first.
Authentically Italian. The Nanuet
Eggplant.
Chamber of Commerce does a lot of events over there.
Okay.
Rockland News actually hosted a meeting with the various supervisors to let them know what our development plans are for Rockland's News. So
Excellent.
gave them the heads up about that.
All right.
We're actually doing another one soon.
Does Banchetto have music?
They have they don't have live bands, but they have elegant music right by the wine bar.
Okay.
And
They have a wine bar, folks.
Yeah, you can mosey on it, and there's outdoor seating as well.
Oh, not enough places have outdoor seating. I mean, not on a day like today, but
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's just like you feel the
humidity.
Yep, it's beautiful. All right, so
All right,
Manchetta Restaurant.
So the next is Outsource My IT.
That's my friend John Sandak from Outsource My IT. I know John for about almost 20 years now. And I have to say, John is just a salt of the earth kind of guy that really knows his stuff. He used to work for Sharp Corporation, and he did technical advisement and consulting for a team over there that he managed. Afterwards, he ended up doing a stint working for Amazon, and now he's with Outsource My IT. They're located in New Jersey, but usually we keep it Rockland centric, but they also do on-site work in Rockland County now.
So Outsource My IT will come into a company's house, an individual's house?
Yeah.
Both?
They'll go to your home, they'll go to your company, and they'll show you how you can protect yourself from cybersecurity threats.
Okay, so they're a cybersecurity company that does on-site visits, and they work a lot in Rockland.
Exactly.
All right.
And it can get down to the technical level of, for instance, being like PayPal compliant. When you have financial systems, you have to be PCI compliant. So they can show you how to do that, for instance, and they're going to get technical. I know most of you don't know what I'm about to say, but it is a thing.
And
okay.
Tom speaks IT tech, and Mike's eyes roll back in his head.
Sorry. But they could set up DMARC records. All right. And so. All right, but outsourcemyit.com.
Other companies that also go and do their service at your place is Clean Space Maintenance and Management Company.
Clean Space Maintenance and Management Company. That's Tony D'Elia, and he has run Clean Space for many, many years. Another family-owned business. I actually used his services right outside of the studio door here.
Oh wow!
He showed up with like the big 30-foot trailer. Left it here over the weekend. He's like, fill it up, I'll haul it out. So we had to clean out this studio in which we're sitting.
Oh, so he takes the junk out of your house.
Yeah.
Well, brings the thing for you to take the junk out of your house, and he just takes it away.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
And he's got a team that can do it too.
This isn't a go in and vacuum and dust the office. This is I have collected too much stuff and I need it to all leave.
Exactly.
All right.
So, a good example of this is, and it was actually a two-pronged effort. We had Sparkling Clean Homes come in and just clear the clutter. But before that, had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And I can't even.
So you call Clean Space and then you call Sparkling Clean.
Exactly. That would be the order of operations.
And then you put your computer system back in and then you call Outsource.
Yeah. Without a doubt. So
all right.
It makes a lot of sense.
After doing all of that moving, your skeleton's going to be all out of whack, and you need to be all straightened. So we go to the North Rockland Chiropractic.
Dr. Anna Maria O'Looney, and she is with North Rockland Chiropractic. She's located right on Route 9W here in Stony Point, New York, where Rockland News is. And I go to her regularly for chiropractic. As I sit here, Mike.
Yes.
And I have to admit this, we're talking about getting a little older. I'm 49 now, turning 50 soon. And my back is killing me from sitting in front of the computers.
Yeah, it happens. Chiropractic
Yeah.
and massage therapy and all of that is really, I think, underutilized and underappreciated.
It is. Yeah,
Uh,
definitely necessary, especially to. And I have to tell you, when my back is adjusted, my mental capacities feel better. I
oh,
feel like
absolutely.
there's no inflammation in the way of clear thought.
Right. Because if you're physically taxed, you're going to be mentally taxed.
Yeah, totally. So for North Rockland Chiropractic, I'm just going to name some websites here and a few before: northrocklandchiro.com, and you can set appointments right online. Uh, Clean Space, let me just bring up the website for that. I mentioned Tony D'Elia, and you can get rid of a lot of the stuff, clutter in your house. It's Clean Space. Hang on. Clean Space MMC.us. And I just also want to give a huge shout out to Clean Space's social media director. And her name is Anu from Anu Socials. Definitely someone, if you're really looking to build, especially like, your Instagram, your TikTok, maybe your Facebook presence, LinkedIn, definitely call Anu from Anu Socials. I'll get that phone number for you guys in a little while because she's right in my phone, but I don't have my phone with me. Anu Socials, and I've spoke with her many times. We actually do the same thing, but listen, there's plenty of room for people to help on social media, and it's a lot of it's a lot of posts. It's a time consuming job. I could tell that Anu does it right, and she is the representative for social media marketing for Clean Space. So fantastic person to know. And I mentioned Banchetto Restaurant. Let me bring that website up. So those of you that want to check out Banchetto, it's banchettofeast.com. Fantastic. All right.
And on to our next restaurant,
Thank
the
you.
Stony Point Pancake Factory.
That's right. So every Tuesday, Mike,
Yeah.
we go over to the Stony Point Pancake Factory for Small Biz Tuesday.
And what do you have? What do you eat at the Stony Point Pancake Factory? What's your favorite food?
We have breakfast.
Are you a pancake guy or are you an eggs and bacon guy?
I'm an eggs and lox kind of guy.
Eggs and lox. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Going for moderately healthy. I mean, I could do the egg whites, but quite frankly, I'd prefer like well mashed together.
So it's not just pancakes.
It's not just pancakes. They have a full menu. I mean, you can actually go there at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock, I think, at night. And you could basically just order like lobster and steak. I mean, they have.
So it's like a fancy diner.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Yeah.
Not to insult diners.
No, yeah, no worries.
I love a good diner.
In all seriousness, I got to tell you, man. Like I was in there, just randomly on. I think it was like last Thursday at about 4 or 5 o'clock. Place was packed.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next restaurant on the list, Fiesta Acapulco. More Mexican, and we have excellent Mexican food here in North Rockland.
Yes, and
Fiesta Acapulco is where?
So it's right up the road in Stony Point, New York, just past Rockland News' studio, and they're located on Route 9W, across the way from the TD Bank, not the TD Bank in Garnerville, the TD Bank
which is now
to Cannabis. Exactly. So it's Fiesta Acapulco. They are little backstory on it. Yeah, 2 years ago, Juan took over that location, which used to be Lynch's restaurant.
Because Lynch has moved
over to the Philip Rotella golf course and the old Sonoma Grill over there. He completely renovated the place. And, Kevin's, he's been a restaurateur for, my goodness, maybe 25, 30 years now.
Right.
So he renovated the place really nicely. There's banquets that you could do there and outdoor, checking out the golfers. It's cool.
And I've asked you this about the other restaurants. What's your favorite dish to get at Fiesta Acapulco?
So at Fiesta and Juan, I have to say, before I tell you the dish, I got to tell you about Juan. Juan is a huge, huge supporter of local music. And I want to say to you, mi padre, gracias, mi amigo. Because this man He's helping us to put on the open mics that we do.
Oh, right. The open mic night is Thursdays. Is that right?
So we moved it to Wednesday because we want to
Okay.
test the waters and see like what our baseline is. But the plan is to move it eventually back over to Thursday.
All right. So every Wednesday for the time being, open mic night. Tell us how open mic night works at Fiesta Acapulco.
Yeah, so it's something that I don't think a lot of open mic places do. You get a buffet included.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So open mic is not just getting up and singing. If you want to sit down and play drums, you can come play drums. If you have your own guitar,
Yeah,
right?
The house band.
It's any musician who wants to play out but doesn't have a band to play out with.
Correct. Let's say, for instance, you like to play. You mentioned the clarinet.
Yes.
So let's say you got a clarinet. You want to get your Jethro Tull on. You know.
That's flute.
Damn it. Okay. You got. Let's say you got a flute.
Okay.
Okay. You want to stand on one leg
and act like Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull.
Ian Anderson is amazing, but you can do that at Fiesta. And open mic night, the format is this: you show up, if you got an instrument, or if you want to, you sign up on a list, and the house band plays first, and the house band is called Get Fuzzy.
Okay.
They bring their own backline, which is the instruments that you can, actually the speaker system and the drums.
So there's drum set, there's amps to plug into.
Amps to plug in.
There's a PA.
Yeah.
So you just really have to show up with your instrument of choice.
Exactly.
And the will to play, right?
Exactly. And there's also a buffet included in this. And for those that are interested in business networking, that actually starts an hour prior so that you can get your talk in first. At 6:30 is when the networking starts, buffet included.
And this is not networking necessarily for the music industry. This is networking for the citizens of Rockland.
Business to business transactions, yeah.
And just because they are serving delicious Mexican food, it is not a Mexican themed or Latino themed. It is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
I mean, it's just like, and I don't even like throw like, different like labels on it, but it's like everybody's there, man. Everybody's there. It's beautiful.
Hold on. That should be the quote. Everybody's there at Fiesta Acapulco.
We might have to put that.
All right. Now, the next item on our list is the one that I've been most curious about, called the Tactical Citizen. What is the Tactical Citizen?
The Tactical Citizen, and this is Jim Keenan, he offers training to be situationally aware in anything that could happen that could perhaps either cause stress, personal harm, or safety issues in your own environments. Now, it could be at home, that could be you walking down the street, but the premise here is to be situationally aware. Know your surroundings. Be able to be aware in a way where if something happens that affects your personal space, you know exactly what to do given the situation at hand. Now, that's basically a big lead up to training so that you could kick somebody's tuchus if you have to.
All right.
Yeah.
So, in ways to physically protect yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it. Jim Keenan, he's former cop,
and after you
provides protection.
Have protected yourself and you've put your hip out of whack because you're old, like you and I are, Tom, you would go to
Fiesta Acapulco to have a beer.
Well, before that, you would have to go to Ivy Rehab physical therapy.
Especially if you don't take tactical citizenry training, you might need physical therapy. No,
right.
No, but all right. Let's say, for instance, if you are injured accidentally, say, I'll give you an example. I got a bum knee. All right, I got my torn. I'm really getting old. I got a torn ACL in my left knee that happened.
Older than he is.
When I was you look great, man. Don't change the thing. But yeah, and this is something that, if you have a torn ACL or if you have physical injuries, physical therapy is absolutely the way forward. And, Dr. Nick over there, and he's been on the show before talking about physical therapy and making sure that people are taken care of, but he's got a great facility over there. So it's Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, located in West Haverstraw, New York. And he's going to be a guest on the show once again, probably in the next few days on Rockland News.
Now, the last item on our list is the one that we love the most. Rockland Music Fest.
That's right.
This has been Tommy's, like, he has had this dragon egg and he's been carrying it for miles and
the
miles
place.
and miles,
I can see for miles,
cuddling it
and
and
miles
making sure it
and
grows up into be this wonderful, beautiful thing.
Miles and miles
He's singing and dancing around the studio. He's flinging his tickets
That's
around.
it's not tickets for
it's
me.
money.
It's tickets for you.
Tickets
for you, Mike, and
Oh,
tickets
wow.
for you that are listening to this. Tickets for everyone.
Just like the graduates at Stack.
Absolutely.
Right.
So St. Thomas Aquinas is getting 375 tickets for the graduates
to go to Rockland Music Fest.
To go to Rockland
which
Music
is
Fest.
at the stadium.
Yeah, it's at Clover Stadium. So here's the deal. We've been doing these festivals for the last 10 years on a smaller scale. And special thanks to the town of Stony Point for allowing us to have them for 10 years. Now, Mike, and we talked about this for years, we are bringing this concert to Clover Stadium in Pomona.
Because we are here to put the rock back in Rockland.
Absolutely. And we're going to kick it off in style. And I'm going to tell you, I sold out a little bit. This isn't a local band that's headlining, but I got to tell you, it will knock your socks off. Whether you're wearing SpongeBob socks or Metallica socks.
What if you're wearing Crocs?
You could be wearing Crocs.
Will it knock your Crocs off?
It could be like if you're jumping up and down. It's a possibility. Magical Mystery Doors is
interesting.
Yeah, man. And I can't say.
Hold on. Will 202 Cannabis be giving their wares before the show?
We have not confirmed nor denied that part. I know for a fact that we will be having vendors at the show. And by the way, you can go to rocklandmusicfest.com/vendors. We just finished our vendor form and very reasonable rates to be on. However, once you've put an application in, that doesn't mean that you're approved. Our committee has to look at it, and we honestly have to see if it's right for the festival, because this is all about you. The people that attend the Rockland Boulders baseball games, the New York Boulders baseball games, they go there for charitable events. This also is a charity.
All right.
We're going to donate the proceeds from this event to Meals on Wheels Rockland. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary serving the senior community in Rockland.
So food insecurity has always been a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. Before the great pandemic, that's all everyone was talking about when I was working over there at Rockland Community College. Food insecurity. Some folks don't know how to cook. Some folks don't know what good food actually is. And Meals on Wheels provides healthy food for folks who can't provide it for themselves. Right.
Right.
I would encourage all of the young folk to learn at least some minimal cooking skills. There's a celebrity who just died. She was a chef. I noticed on Facebook just yesterday. I can't remember her name because I didn't know who she was. But I'm not hip. I'm old. Wait, I got a bad hip. No, wait.
Yeah, but you got this cool shirt on that says "I'm the dude, man."
Well, I am. So. Although we have a lot of restaurants, and I do encourage everyone to go check out every one of the restaurants on our sponsor list, having some minimal cooking skills can really change your economic status and allow you to visit these restaurants a little bit more and make yourself a little healthier.
Yeah, and as time goes on, I realized the value of really knowing how to create a few just even simple dishes. I roasted Brussels sprouts last night.
Oh, excellent. And how did you roast them? Did you just throw them in the oven? Or?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, I threw it in the air fryer. Okay. And my method was basically I threw obviously a lot of seasoning on them.
All right. What are your seasonings? Or is it a secret family recipe?
Well, let me put it this way, Mike, because I know you're a gardener and you're deep in the food space, and this will be akin to like when I told you that I drink Coors Lights.
Oh God.
Yeah. And for the studio audience that just cringed, I'm sorry, but
there is really high quality craft beverage in Rockland County, and that will be another show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it another time.
I want to go through all of the tasty craft beverage places in Rockland County.
I think we should
go. Therefore, no one should be drinking beer from outside.
I'm going to say first and foremost, Gentle Giant Brewing Company in Pearl River. You ever been there?
I have been there. They are not my favorite though.
No? Okay.
My favorite beer Well, there's two. There is the Little Thumper from Defiant
Hmm.
and the Cream Ale from Stony Point Brewing.
I
And
could
I am
definitely.
not a cream ale person, but there is just something about David Ludwig's cream ale that was just so delicious. Every time I went in there, I'm like, give me the biggest glass and just keep it coming. It was so tasty.
Yeah, definitely. And you can check them out at stonypointbrewingcompany.com. And
And
David,
defiant.com for Little Thumper.
I think it's defiantbrewingco.com if I'm
Ah,
not mistaken.
all right.
I'm pretty sure. I'll check that at the break when we do
Okay,
that.
excellent.
But yeah, so as far as like the Rockland Music Fest, as far as like being able to bring in that whole scene, we're not necessarily going to accept every vendor because we want to make sure that the experience is a unique one, something that, and I put this on the front of the
Will you
brochure
be
here.
serving Coors Light?
Well, no, the stadium will be. The stadium will be. But hey, listen, this is the main thing about it is that I don't have to worry about the concessions. We're going to bring in food trucks. We got authorization from over at Clover Stadium
Okay.
to bring in food trucks for this as well. And we're going to have, like, for instance, like, Lobster Company, and also, like, I'm trying to get a hold of Five Senses food truck because they are
Those guys are fantastic.
a favorite. Rockland's kettle corn, things like that. But we want to create, like, and I put it on there, like, having a unique experience. Something, and I put this in here, Magical Mystery Doors, which is the headliner for this gig. USA Today ranked them as the #1 casino show.
Wait, we're gonna bring in. Are we bringing gambling to
No,
the city?
no. I'm
Get
taking
my hopes up.
No.
No
Let me tell you right now who's taking on all the risk. I am.
So you are gambling with yourself.
Oh, my own. As I look to the skies, it's like no.
Right.
It's, and you know what? I'm happy to do this. I have to say, over the last 10 years leading up to this, it's definitely been a journey. And again, I want to thank the town of Stony Point. Jim Monahan was really a driving force behind making this thing help to happen. We'll get into talking about our friend Jim Monahan in future months. He's stepping down after 10 years as town supervisor. But I can't explain it exactly in words. The only way that I could say is that sometimes the things that we perceive outside of us line up with the things that we perceive internally about us.
That's called being in harmony with the universe.
And it doesn't, yeah, and it doesn't happen.
Dude, man.
You're the dude, man. And it doesn't always happen every single moment of every day. Um, I had an interesting Monday where, let's just say, the vitamin B12 was just not working.
All right.
Yeah, couldn't even hear the music. I couldn't even feel it, which is really
That's sad.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. But when it makes sense, usually it's not with the external world. It's really like feeling good with oneself. The external world happens randomly from time to time, where it's just like, you know what? This makes sense. I'll give you an example, Mike. When you're in the garden,
When I'm in the garden, nothing else matters.
when you're cooking, just you put a little piece of your soul into it, but you get something back. Um, that's the way this music festival feels, building it up. And I know for a fact there's only so far I could take it by myself.
This music festival is like an ongoing quest you've had since I've met you.
Yeah.
Because you have always talked about putting the rock back in Rockland.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I always like to talk about is the youth of Rockland, because without the youth of Rockland, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
Like Rockland will cease to exist if we don't have people. How did the youth get involved, become part of the Rockland music scene in a way that isn't intimidating and is safe? So like the parents, like myself, will feel comfortable with their young folk wanting to go out and play music in venues, because the history and the culture of that is not always so
well regarded.
Innocent.
Well, I mean, you got your Rage Against the Machine back in the '90s. That's just basically like, let's just tear down the system.
Right, but we are trying to put in a safe way
Yes.
for Rockland youth to also uh, join us at our music festival,
Hmm.
become the next generation of musicians. So maybe in future Rockland Music Fest, it will be them up there on the stage.
Yeah, and several music schools already reached out to us to be there. We're talking in the background about what's going on with the different music schools. A little bit of a competition, but we'll leave that off the table. But
Collaboration, not competition,
yeah,
folks.
that's the thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Collaboration.
Yeah, everybody get along. You know what I'm saying? But now, interestingly enough, so this ties back to the youth. Okay, you see St. Thomas Aquinas College that's giving away tickets to their college students for music. All right, and again
Right.
for a charitable event.
Right.
You have various the Stony Point Seals. They signed up. We had Mike Lydon on the show. I didn't mention this, but they signed up for 100 tickets for for Rockland Music Fest. 100 tickets.
So those will be awards and rewards for doing things for the Stony Point Seals, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's various organizations. Lucas Candies.
The oldest candy store in all of New York.
The tavern at Lucas Candies. They just opened the pub right next door.
Nick and Deb are amazing folk.
This past weekend that just passed, Common Time was playing over there.
Okay.
All right. Now, Common Time is a high school band.
Oh, great.
And Common Time is a high school band that played at the most recent North Rockland High School Rockfest.
And our last Stony Music Fest, we had
several bands.
Shows Fired, which was the next generation from some dear friends of mine. When we played back in high school, their kids were playing, and they were able to impress Tommy enough to put them on stage, and they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
So to the parents of musicians, to the musicians who are listening, just pick up your instrument and start playing and keep trying.
Yeah, absolutely. You just keep on at it. And, like when I was 24 years old and in my friend Greg's basement, because I got kicked out of my house, I'm just being honest,
Right.
But I put myself back through college, all was well. But in the meantime, I happened to notice that there was this drum set in Greg's basement. And I started playing it. I played an AC/DC song. Most of you know this, Back in Black.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. So not gonna get into it, but it just like I got on the show, I was like, I'm actually not too bad at this. And I have to give my uncle, my uncle Jackie, who lives in Pomona, huge kudos because he really, I learned the drums on my own mostly, but he was the starting point because he used to like air drum to jazz and honky tonk music from back in the day, Knuckles O'Toole.
I will quote this forever until the day I die.
Mhm.
Dizzy Gillespie said there are two kinds of music in this world. I happen to listen to the good stuff.
Yeah, seriously, right? That's why I literally left a band back in the day because the guitarist just sucked. Life is too short to play with crappy musicians, but there's not going to be any crappy musicians at this Rockland Music Fest.
Crappy musician is all a mindset.
Because we have been cultivating bands literally for the last 10 years in Stony Point. And the best of the bunch from the Stony Music Fest are going to be there. I'm going to give you some examples. We get the Frank Ocasio Brother Band.
Oh, Frank is amazing.
Yep, and they are going to put on a show that you can remember. Plus AK-40 Devin, hip hop artist, family friendly.
He has always been impressive.
Yep, I got a band that I just found. I'm adopting them into the Stony Music Fest family and now the Rockland Music Fest family. The Slippery Chickens.
I feel like they need to hang out with the Polar Penguins at Nyack.
Yeah, it would be perfect, right?
Maybe they need to play the Polar Penguin plunge.
Yeah.
Slippery Chickens and the Penguins. Yes.
I saw them over in Nyack this weekend over at Casa del Sol.
Okay.
3-piece bands. They play rockabilly music, stand-up bass.
Oh, very nice.
The guitarist is unbelievable. He's like Brian Setzer level.
Oh, I saw that. I saw Brian Setzer at the Hammerstein.
Oh, really?
That was a fantastic show. It was many years ago.
Tell me about it. Because it's on my list. I want to go.
The Hammerstein. It is one of those dance hall style of venues where everybody's up and moving.
Oh no, I'm sorry. And please now describe Hammerstein. I meant about Brian Setzer, but
Right.
I've been to Hammerstein.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, when I got to go, I was going with a friend of mine who knew somebody, so we got to sit in one of the box seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at Brian Setzer like we were on the same level, kind of.
Yes.
And it was they were just so tight and so much energy. Um, Everybody was on the floor, swing dancing and having a grand old time.
Mm.
It was such a fun time. But the thing about the Hammerstein is you got to go into the city, right? And
Right.
one of the things that you and I always talked about, going back to Rockland Music Fest, is we want to put music in Rockland County.
Absolutely.
We want to have entertainment spaces and event spaces and places for people to go of all ages.
Yep.
And not have to leave our dear county.
Yes, exactly.
Why
And
should we have to drive more than 35 minutes to go see good music?
yeah, and then add on another $20 in congestion pricing now. And look, if they got to do it, they got to do it. I'm not passing judgment.
But
and
that's
there's
not the point. The point is that we should be able to grow our music scene
right
in Rockland County.
here.
That's what Rockland Music Fest is trying to do. We want to be collaborative with all of the schools. We want to be collaborative with all of the people who want to just pick up an instrument and try.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that is something that we're going to be cultivating for further years after this inaugural Rockland Music Fest. And you know what the slogan is for it?
What's that?
And we're adding in all the previous music fests into this. The last 10 years, Rockland Music Fest. This one goes to 11.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so. And there's going to be a variety of other bands there that are going to be playing. Like, for instance, there's a band, it's Grateful Dead. Trouble Junction is going to be there. That my friend Jonathan, who plays in the band Side Hustle, he's an amazing Jimi Hendrix style guitarist. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Jimmy's my absolute favorite musician.
Yeah, and remember at the end of Stony Music Fest, I think 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
He sang All Along the Watchtower.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
Fantastic.
So that sort of vibe is totally going to be there. And we're going to have a few other bands. I don't have them in front of me, but there's going to be 10 bands plus Magical Mystery Doors. That event is sponsored, and I want to give a huge shout out to Champlain Hudson Power Express. Yes, I know the roads are being upended, but I have to tell you, they really are attempting to give back. They're a sponsor for Rockland Music Fest. We thank them very much for it, as well as St. Thomas Aquinas College. We just got a sponsorship notice yesterday that Phillips and Millman, the law firm right here, Mike, they're going to be a sponsor of Rockland Music Fest. And a variety of the sponsors that we mentioned before, they're also going to be sponsors of Rockland Music Fest.
So if you are a company and you would like to sponsor either Rockland Music Fest or our news show, how would you do that, Tom?
Yeah, you know what? And I'll tell you this for the record. Anybody that sponsors, and here's this from what I'm saying right now, if you hear this, mention this and I will honor it, okay? Anybody that sponsors this Rockland Music Fest, and again, the proceeds go to Meals on Wheels Rockland.
That's right.
Sponsor at any level besides the goodie bag sponsor. The goodie bag sponsor is just like, it's, you don't have to spend a lot of money for that, in all seriousness, all right? But if you do any of the other sponsorship levels, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
He
different.
has a flyer, folks.
I have a flyer. I'm looking at the flyer right now. Different sponsorship levels. You sponsor at any one of those levels, I will give you advertising for 3 months free on Rockland's News.
Wow.
Yeah, including this show. I will kudos you every single time that I'm on.
So
7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, bam, I'll mention you.
If they want to reach you and sponsor, how do they do it?
Okay, all you got to do is you're going to head over to rocklandmusicfest.com, click on the sponsors tab, put in your information, and we'll get you started. Our friend Sean, who's one of the people that is talking about what's going on. Oh, that was quick. Town of Orangetown Supervisor Teresa Kenny is on the wire. I'm going to put her to voicemail, but Teresa, I will give you a buzz right back. My apologies. But again, anybody that wants to sponsor this Rockland Music Fest, you could tell I really mean you know what I'm saying. I mean this.
Put the rock back in Rockland. Help Tommy put the rock back in Rockland.
Very excited about this. I hope you are too. Anybody that sponsors Rockland Music Fest, I will give you 3 free months as an advertiser on this morning show and Rockland News. rocklandmusic.com. We publish 30 stories per week on a variety of matters, and we report, right in the column of progress. And I mean,
Hopefully
quite frankly,
those matters matter to you.
we get a minimum of 50,000 views per month, and sometimes it peaks at 120,000 views per month.
And thank you, all you listeners out there.
Yes, thank you for being on the show with us today. And again, back to Rockland Music Fest. It's just going to be amazing, man. It's going to be September 27th from 12 noon until 10 o'clock. And obviously, I can't say enough about it. But why don't we? I guess that's a natural.
This is a good place to close down, right?
Yeah.
This was our sponsor show, and
Yeah.
I hope you learned some stuff. I learned a bunch of stuff from Tommy today. I hope Tommy learned some things.
Yeah.
But encourage the music.
Yes. Exactly. We got some opening and closing music.
The Rockland Music Fest music. Pick up your instruments, sing your songs, and do your soul.
I just want to say to you guys, this is exactly how great things start. Very awkwardly.
Very.
Yes. But we really appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you next time. On behalf of Tom and Mike, take care for now.
Have a great day.
Bam!